In Motor Week this week, Richard Hammond with the unusual comparison of the Saxo VTS and the Caterham Super 7. Also direct from Geneva, the 1999 Auto Express Awards. And Ian, diesel-hating Royle, finds some oil burners he likes.
Two cars, one a small hatch, the other a small race car developed for the road. An odd choice to test together, you might think. What have they got in common? Well, quite a lot. For a start, they both cost about 13 grand. They're both built with driving in mind. But this is the Citroen Saxo VTS. It's a compromise. It offers practicality and drivability. Caterham Super 7 Sprint offers no practicality, no compromise. It's just about driving. So we want to find out, is it worth sacrificing the practicality of the Citroen for the excitement of the Caterham? So which one first? It's got to be the Caterham. And straight away, there's no mistaking this car's purpose. In a tiny little cockpit, we've got two deep bucket seats, very narrow. We've got a full 4-point race harness, which is a fiddle to get on, minimal dials, and that's it. No creature comforts whatsoever, and a little tiny Momo steering wheel. And it's not the easiest thing to get into or out of. Well, it's got an alarm, which is good in a car with no roof, but it's not the easiest thing to find where the keys are, located under the dash. But we've done it. So we'll fire it up. You hear the fuel pump clicking away. We'll first release the handbrake under here. We're ready for liftoff. In actual fact, Caterham can supply you with one of these direct from the factory for just a shade under 11 grand. But to be honest, I think to spec it up to anything like a livable standard, you're going to be spending about 13. You can go mad and spend 20 grand on something that'll easily beat a Ferrari. Cramped isn't the word in here. It's unbelievable. This thing is tiny. I'm a small guy. You should have seen us wrestling the cameraman in here. Getting him out is going to be even more fun. This is absolutely back to basics. I feel like Biggles in a car. Hello? And the old Roadster. There is not a single frill on this car. Everything is basic and functional. And the controls are incredible. The steering is faster than I can believe. With a tiny little steering wheel, it's accentuated. Before you know what's happening, you really are disappearing up your own what's-it. Everything you need is here, even a little tiny indicator. It works, but again, it's pretty functional. This is the most basic version. It's the Classic or the Sprint, so it's a little tiny 1.6 8-valve K-Series engine, but that is more than enough. The car weighs about half a ton, which really is nothing. That makes for blistering performance. We're not talking high-tech Japanese-style manufacturing here. We're talking about enormous fun in a little tiny lightweight package. Even down to the steel wheels, it's the basic specification, no fancy alloys here. There's no doubting it is enormous fun, but any car that you can't even get out of without a set procedure. I'm only a small guy. For 6-footers, it's impossible to wrestle your way around. Practical, no. And as for the procedure for getting into our more sensible little sporting friend, Citroen Saxo, well, it consists of this, and then this. Well, this is completely different. It's a car for a start. You're sat inside a hot hatch, but in fact, apart from the nice blue dial, you wouldn't really know there was anything hot about it at all. You just sat in an ordinary car. It's not until you mash the right pedal do you realise this thing is very fast indeed. Front-wheel drive, so it's a totally different experience, and it is extremely quick. It's typical hot hatchery in here. All the power going to the front wheels. They're only too ready to brake traction and spin. It goes around corners incredibly quickly. Unlike the Caterham, it takes minimal effort. In the case of the 7, you get back what you put in. It's rear-wheel driven, it feels raw and basic. This feels as comfortable as any other hatchback. It just happens to go very quickly. If you have to ask why the Caterham is a more rewarding driver's car when this thing is easier to drive and half the time is probably faster anyway, you'll never appreciate it. This is a compromise, and you're aware of that all the time. Having said that, it's a car that you can drive very, very fast, very, very easily. The main difference is we can go at great speed, but I've got my shopping in here. There's massive amount of room. It's a typical hatch. Convenient, everything to hand, a nice size, you can see out clearly, and it's warm and dry. So decision time, what do I go for? They both cost about the same. Do I choose Citroen Saxo VTS with its optimum compromise between driving pleasure and practicality, or the no frills, no compromises Caterham? Well, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool motoring enthusiast and I'm a bit of a hard man. I don't mind the wind in the hair, but then I have got to go to London and it is an awful long way. It's the Citroen.
I have a problem with diesel cars, and that problem is I just don't like them. People can tell me how good such and such a diesel car is until they're blue in the face, how many miles to the gallon they get, and so on. It matters to me not a jot. That noisy clatter at tick over, plumes of murky smoke coming from the exhaust, yuck. I'd rather ride my son's battery-powered motorbike, to be honest. However, my mind was swayed a little when I drove the new Audi A6 with a 2.5 V6 turbo diesel. Smooth, responsive and powerful, adjectives you wouldn't normally apply to a diesel car. So we've decided today to bring together the Audi A6 and the new BMW 530 diesel. Now, both of these cars sell by the bucket loads in their petrol variants. Audi are well known for producing cracking diesel cars. So, is Audi's crown slipping a little with the advent of the new BMW? We'll see. Now, as soon as you're in the Audi A6, you know you're driving a quality car. The cabin is classy, spacious and luxurious, and the finish is absolutely superb. All the materials used are top class, and that just matches the exterior design of the A6. Surely one of the most handsome executive cars on the road today. The A6 has a top speed of 133 miles per hour. It'll do 0 to 60 in just under 9 seconds, fast enough for most busy executives. And the ride and handling of the A6 are more than adequate. It soaks up poor road surfaces with ease. And remember, almost uniquely in this class of car, the A6 is front-wheel drive. Now, most people buy diesel cars for their excellent fuel economy, and here's where the Audi wins hands down. It'll do 28 miles per gallon urban, 53 extra urban and 41 to the gallon on the combined cycle. And that could give you, if you drive it sedately, a range of about 800 miles to the tank. And that is fantastic. So the Audi remains a class diesel act. It's powerful, it's responsive, and it is quiet at most speeds apart from at tick over. It's very impressive. How will the new BMW 530 diesel compare? The first thing you notice about the BMW is the power that this new 3-litre 6-cylinder common rail diesel engine kicks out. It produces 184 brake horsepower with 287 pounds of torque, and that makes it feel a lot nippier and more powerful than the Audi, although performance figures suggest that the 530 is only marginally quicker than the A6. With the BMW having substantially more power than the Audi, progress is fast and perhaps easier than in the A6. You can rev right up to the 4,600 RPM red line, and there's hardly any turbo lag, just a slight flat spot at around 2,000 RPM. Handling is sharp and nimble, and you can really hustle the 5 Series fast round country lanes. So I've had a chance to drive both of these cars, and they are both seriously impressive. The Audi will cost you in SE trim £29,000, the BMW in SE trim bit more expensive, £30,500. The Audi has the better fuel economy, the BMW more power. The Audi is the newer model of the two, but I think if it was me and I had to have a diesel as my car, I'd go for the BMW. Diesels are getting to be seriously good cars, and depreciation on these cars is excellent. Your accountant or finance director will be delighted if you bought either of these vehicles. And I think I'll keep the keys to the BMW if you don't mind.
After the break, we go behind the scenes of the annual award ceremony, organised by the largest automotive publishing group in Europe, to discover Europe's car for 1999. At the end of the Geneva Motor Show, it's traditional for a banquet and award ceremony put together by the Auto Europe magazine group. Britain's magazine in this group is called Auto Express, and readers from this and those from the magazine's sister publications in 11 other countries voted by post, phone and email for their national winner. The Alfa Romeo 166 won in Italy, and Greece, the new Mercedes S-Class won in Turkey. The Audi TT won in Germany, France, Austria and Switzerland, and the Ford Focus won in Britain, Holland, the Czech Republic, Poland and Croatia. By coming first with the readers in their respective countries, these four national winners qualified for the European final and a date at the test track in France with the international experts, the racing drivers, the journalists and the engineers. Their job to determine the best car development of 1999 to discover Europe's #1 car. Leading race drivers such as Formula One star Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Olivier Panis, Mika Salo, Michela Alboreto, and Marc Sura in the test driver team. The venue is near Paris, the Matre Seram in Montrefontaine. And boy, have they got 2 hard days of testing ahead of them. The readers from 12 countries of the Auto Europe magazine group have already selected their national favourites, leaving 4 to compete for the title of the Auto One Award 1999. The cars selected, brought along, they're going to be driven hard and fast. The testers have only one goal: to find the best. In all, 5 cars of each model will be tested on the hydraulic lift in the workshop, on the handling track, on the speed track, lap with speed turns, on the torture track with potholes and worse, and on the main roads of the Paris suburbs. For over 48 hours, the engines of the test cars won't get a chance to cool down. But how can you compare an Audi TT with a Ford Focus? That's why the cars will be compared to others in the same class and not with each other directly. For example, the Alfa 166 will be judged against the Audi A6, the BMW 5 Series, and the Peugeot 605. The Audi TT will be compared against the BMW Z3 Coupe and the Mercedes SLK. The Ford Focus will be compared with the Vauxhall Opel Astra, Renault Megane and the Volkswagen Golf. And the S-Class from Mercedes up against the Audi A8, the BMW 7 Series and also the Jaguar XJ Series. Each member of the jury will provide an expert assessment based on different criteria. The technicians will assess passive safety, accuracy to manufacturer's specifications, wind and rattling noises anywhere, fuel consumption, and 5 other factors in these categories: finish, environmental considerations and also repair costs. The racing drivers will give points for handling on wet and dry roads and on the slalom. There'll also be test driving characteristics and braking performance. For the racing stars, it's a good opportunity to really hammer production cars and tell it like it is.
Ja, der Ford Focus hat mich beim Bremsen überrascht. Also ich bin der Meinung, dass man mit dem Auto sehr gut bremsen kann, sehr gut dosieren kann. Meines Erachtens ein bisschen schwer.
Well, it was a very difficult choice between a Ford Focus and this Audi TT, but in the end Audi wins because first of all it's cool looks and it's very nice inside and outside, and four-wheel drive, good power and handling is very good. So I would prefer this.
My favorite car is a Mercedes Ace Class Ace, because for me this car is very, very safe. The security and for the tourist driver is very good and easy to drive. The braking is incredible and the technology is fantastic for the tourist car.
Ja, mein Lieblingsauto ist der Alfa 166, ganz einfach, weil er ein super Fahrwerk hat.
Well, I'm sit down in my favorite car, the Audi TT. Very nice looking, very well made, fantastic performance, easy to drive and very safe. This is my car for 1999.
So what was on the agenda of the editors of the Auto Europe magazine group? Well, purchase price, maintenance costs, resale value, all very important, as well as ease of operation. It's looking at standard equipment, optional comfort, safety features, all sorts of things. No stone was unturned. Then acceleration and response, pleasure to drive, suspension, as well as things like the comfort of both front and rear seats, and interior noise and interior space. Use of instruments, all important, the body shape itself, ergonomics, and all-round visibility. All were tested by the editors. No weak spots left uncovered. So the four cars get down for the big test. Which will be the winner after all this testing and driving? The Alfa 166, the Ford Focus, the Mercedes S-Class, or the Audi TT?
Wo waren wir denn stehen geblieben?
Wir haben für den Focus 26 Punkte.
26 Punkte für den Ford Focus.
Und Audi TT 36 Punkte.
Und 36 Punkte für den Audi TT. Und da sind sie, die Punkte der Rennfahrerjury. Ja, sie werden dazu addiert, meine Damen und Herren. Der Gewinner steht fest. Ja, der Audi TT mit 148 Punkten.
So the Audi TT, matched, remember, not against the other three finalists, but against others in its class, received more points in the relevant categories and is now the Auto Europe magazine group's #1 car for 1999. And if you're an Auto Express reader in Britain who voted for the TT, you're back to winner. And we have further reports on this award-winning car in future weeks. And now here's some news for paranoid business people, statesmen and unpopular company executives. Mercedes-Benz have introduced Guard, special protection for its range-topping S-Class model. This will protect you from revolver, rifle fire, as well as hand grenades, explosives and Molotov cocktails. So it's not only the mechanics that are bomb-proof. Interested? Well, cars in Class B4 could take a slug from a .44 Magnum. Great against a well-equipped car thief. Hope you don't need it, but cars in Classes B6 and B7 offer protection from terrorist or professional assassination attempts. All the latest high-tech materials such as glass, plastic combinations, high-strength steel have been used to create a passenger survival cell. That's if you could survive one of these. Rumours persist in industry circles that Renault is set to buy a controlling stake in Nissan. Although successful in Europe, selling Micras and Primeras built at its Sunderland plant, the Japanese firm is saddled with huge debts back home. Renault would buy a 40% stake, thus avoiding a French law which would have them take on board Nissan's debts if the French car giant bought over 41%. In Motor Week next week, Ginny Buckley flies to La Provence to drive the new Toyota Super Mini, the Yaris. And how well does a Jeep Cherokee last after 100,000 miles? That's next week in Motor Week.